So something is actually happening in British politics. Now, you might be taken aback and say, hang on a second, nothing happens in British politics. That's not the case. But no, something is definitely happening. It's just that when these things happen, they happen very, very slowly, then all at once. And we're in the slowly building phase of the happening at the moment.
I disagree that it's not that nothing ever happens. It's that
nothing good ever happens.
Things just slowly get worse.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that is true. There is, of course, the overarching gradual decline of the country, but something else might be happening for the first time in a very long time, since Brexit, really. And I'm very excited about it because actually this would signal an actual change in British politics. Again, I know you can't even imagine it because you've never lived in a time period where that's been the case.
I've not lived in a functioning country.
No, but something, I'm not saying the country will be functioning afterwards, but who knows? I don't want to make big, bold predictions, but something is definitely happening and I'm very excited about it, right? But before we begin, go and sign up to lotus.com. You can either sign up for £5 a month or you can spend £1.89 and watch Lads Hour number 6, ranking British cities. Because I think our cities are a good indicator of the decline of our civilization. I'm like under 13 years under the Conservatives, the cities have just got worse and worse and worse and worse, including the town that we live in. And this is just, it's comical now, just how bad our cities are. And the British have never been very good at cities anyway, actually. Like all the continental Europeans have always been quite good at having beautiful cities.
We've got plenty of beautiful cities.
No,
we've got a very high density of good cities.
Not really.
We're really good at towns and we're really, really good at villages.
Yeah. The
maybe
English,
just your soft southern cities.
No, okay. Do you want to?
Yes,
start?
the beautiful cities of the north that are known throughout all of Europe. Yes.
Should we start talking about some northern cities, shall we?
Go on.
Okay. What about like Hull?
Never been there.
Right. What about Birmingham?
Birmingham's not a northern city.
What about Manchester?
Manchester's okay. I've lived in Manchester. I've spent time in Manchester, and there are parts of it that are very near and dear to my heart, so I can't write the whole place off.
But you did tell us quite a few stories.
Listen, my friend was solicited by a homeless woman who tried to get a free night at my university flat by saying that she would, for both of us, and I had to tell him vehemently no.
Okay, comparing that though to somewhere like Prague,
I'm sure there are homeless prostitutes.
Okay.
You did not pick a good example.
What?
The sex degenerate capital of Europe.
Yeah, but it's also a beautiful place, right?
Okay, but
Manchester's got some nice buildings.
Maybe we should just say
I'm sure it does.
Munich or Vienna or...
we were never good at cities anyway, and they've just gotten worse. And it's the 13 years of Conservative government that has allowed this to happen. So let's begin with a couple of by-elections that have recently happened, because these are, as the BBC is telling us, historic. Now, the BBC is, of course, misframing this because the BBC is a hive of left-wing activism, and they want you to believe that Labour are on some sort of massive upswing. And it's actually not that Labour are on a massive upswing. It's that the Tories are just collapsing, absolutely collapsing. And actually, the results show us this. But let's go down to their little... There we go. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh, my God. Vote share of 34% from the Labour Party. They must have really... 12% up. The Tories, 28% down. Wow, that's massive. That's absolutely massive. Labour must have really converted a lot of those voters to get them across the line, which is not what happened, actually. Because instead, what happened was there was a 44% reduction in the turnout for the electorate, which is actually not that usual, because the by-elections are usually slightly lower. Like we'll get about 65% turnout in a general, 75% if it's a really impressive, important general, like in 2019. And the by-elections will be somewhere like between 50 and 60. So it's not terrible. But here is about 35% of the people turned out. So let's sorry, wrong button. Let's go down and have a look at the
stats.
Yeah. I love looking at these stats. Look at that, right? So the Labour Party won with 13,000 votes. The Conservative Party lost with 12,000 votes. Festus Akinbusuyi,
Uncle Festus,
average Conservative Party member, right? Obviously the best candidate for the job, somehow lost to Alistair Strathern. Not by much, though. Lib Dems on $9,000. Independent, Gareth Mackey at 1,800. Reform at 1,400.
The monster raving loony party are still a thing.
Yes.
Apparently.
They're catching up on the Green Party. So that's pretty
Checking out
interesting.
Festus, born in Nigeria, moved here in the 1990s.
Oh, great.
There we are.
Great. That's exactly
He did his master's degree in African studies.
amazing. So let's look at the previous election results, where there was a 73% turnout. Oh, look at that. The Conservatives with 38,692 votes. That's how Nadine Dorris won this.
The totally unremarkable Nadine Dorris.
Yeah.
Got almost 60% of the vote there, but 38,000 votes.
Putting the blue rosette on... I don't want to insult Nadine because I don't dislike Nadine, but she's not remarkable.
No, she had actually a very good chance to do stuff and did nothing with it. So
Yes.
That's why I'm not impressed.
Yes. And like I said, I don't want to insult her, but that is a minus 1% reduction from previous.
And now it's down to 12,000 votes from 38,000. And the Labour Party didn't pick up squat.
So 26,000 or so Conservative voters are just like, no, I'm not voting Labour, because you notice that Labour
got less overall vote.
absolutely, they got 13,872. So this isn't like a historic win for Labour.
They actually lost a
Yeah,
little bit.
yeah, we actually went down.
150 or so people decided they'd rather stay home.
Yeah, they just thought, don't care, I'll probably vote Green or something.
Well, I mean,
Lib Dem.
Maybe they'd have
Actually, the Lib Dems did get 1,000 extra votes. But that's the thing. This isn't a historic win. This is complete collapse for the Conservatives.
This is complete collapse for British representative politics, given that nobody wants to participate anymore.
Yeah, given that it was about 35% of the turnout this one. And something else very similar happened in the 2023 Tamworth by-election. As we can see, staggering turnout.
35.9%. So that's almost like a council election.
That's almost like a Welsh local election.
A drop of almost 30% from the last by-elections.
But again, staggering win for Sarah Edwards. I can't help notice the Englishness of the names of the Labour Party candidates as well.
Keeps happening.
Here's Alistair and Sarah. I mean, at least it's Andrew Cooper on the other side for the Conservatives, right? But 11,000 votes, and that's a 22% swing, minus 25% for the Conservative. Of course, if we look prior, 64% turnout, 30,000 votes.
So the Labour Party gained what, like 100? And Conservatives lost 20k.
Yeah. Hang on a second. Let me
I mean, that's pretty harsh.
Yeah, the Labour Party gained about 800 votes. The Conservative Party lost about 20,000 votes.
Wasn't 2019 a record year for turnout and for
It was
the
a good year, yeah.
Conservatives? It was
Something like 73%, something like
It was a good year for the Conservatives.
Yeah.
We all know that, with which they did absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
So what's happened is all of those people who were really excited, Boris is finally going to get us out of the EU, Brexit's going to get done right, they're going to enter a new era of prosperity, we're going to get out all the people who aren't supposed to be here, tighten up the borders. Why would they show up this time? Because now they're voting for
Rishi Sunak.
Yeah, Rishi Sunak.
So I think it's good to assess, as you're alluding to there, the reason why 20,000 people in that constituency who voted for Boris Johnson are now just gone. And we have some data on this, which is Matthew Goodwinson, when he came in.
Good
And
one.
his previous work, he's shown, I think it's about 40% of people who voted for Boris now vote for no one.
Yeah.
And the reason they voted for Boris was entirely the worldview that everyone was excited about. It was
Yes, it was, yes.
a rightist worldview of maybe we should defend our borders, get rid of foreign control over us. And that's about it, really.
Yeah.
That was the keynote points.
Can we have Britain being a bit British for once, please? And Boris did seem like quite a good avatar of that.
But betraying that will lose you 20k votes in this place. And I can't help but notice, if someone had got 20k votes in this by-election, they would have beaten the Labour Party
Yes.
by 100%.
Yes, if Boris had run as an independent, he probably would have beaten them all.
Or if somebody had shown up as Joris Bonson and said, I will do exactly what Boris said he would, but I will actually do it.
I'm his not evil cousin.
Yeah.
He was the evil cousin the whole time.
But then you get the question of, well, what's going on with the independent parties? Like Reform in the previous one got 1,400 votes.
Yeah, not fun. Not particularly impressed.
UKIP in this one obviously got 436. Oh, no, the previous one, 436.
Go back.
But yeah. There we go. 436. Like Britain First got 580. Like,
Somehow.
yeah, I know, right? Yeah, Reform.
Britain First is now outperforming UKIP.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Reform on 1,300. It's like, what is going on? There are literally 25,000 Conservative voters who just sat around and it's the Conservatives or no one.
I've just noticed Andrew Cooper for Conservatives, Ian Cooper for Reform. Was there some sibling rivalry going on in this
I
constituency?
have no idea.
I hope so. That would be funny.
Yes. But the point being, the right is doing a very bad job of capturing those disaffected voters.
We can, any political scientist assessing the British situation is able to point out that there's a massive swath of rightist voters who presumably in any other system would vote for a right-wing party, and the right-wing parties here are not picking them up.
Yes, because
they're all staying home.
And this is something I said at my traditional Britain speech, whether you like it or not, going around the problem doesn't work. We live in a two-party system where for some reason people will vote Conservative or Labour or nothing.
I wrote about this recently, and my conjecture, my theory was just that because the Conservatives have been grandfathered in to the point where if you're voting right wing in the UK, your mind immediately goes to the Conservatives, and they've got. Sadly, that's
why
true.
would it?
For most normies, that's what
I
happens.
know.
And they also think to themselves, well, the Conservatives have been around for so long, they must be full of people who know what they're doing and know how to govern the country. Why would I put my faith in this new party who may be full of newbies who, if they got into Whitehall, for instance, would have no clue what's going on and wouldn't be able to navigate it? So they immediately put their stock into the Conservatives, and when the Conservatives turn around and prove that they're completely useless, they go, well, all hope is lost.
Yeah, no, I actually totally co-sign that theory. I think that there is a venerableness to the Conservative Party for Conservative
They are the
voters.
oldest, I think one of the oldest parties.
I think the oldest party in the world. Yeah.
And the most successful as well for surviving that long and winning as many elections as they have done.
Which is really remarkable given how bad they are.
Okay, but there is a side point to this that is true as well, which is that UKIP started, I believe in the 90s or something, and then by 2016 they were commanding in the polls 20-something% of the vote, and that was probably the best moment that's long-term.
Yeah.
The Brexit Party was kind of a blip thing.
Yeah.
It's not really a long-standing success, let's say.
But UKIP did have a trump card.
It had Nigel Farage, don't get me wrong.
The argument of British sovereignty.
Of course, as well. And a lot of time there. So you go from the 90s, it's 20-something, 25 years.
25 years, yeah.
To get to your 20-odd% in the polls. I mean, Reform have been around for
5 minutes.
So there is that difference to take into account. Because I don't want to... I'm tepidly agreeing with you guys that this is probably the case, but at the same time, I'm skeptical that the Conservative Party can't be destroyed.
Yeah,
I think it could.
I'm not saying it can't be destroyed.
I'm saying it's a large chance.
I think you need a party with momentum and leadership like UKIP had in the 2016, along with the party completely collapsing from the inside.
Well, interestingly,
those two factors need to coincide with one another if the Conservative Party is to go for good.
Well, what's interesting is Mid Bedfordshire has never been won by the Labour Party before. So as you can see, losing 26,000 votes there, that's not, again, the Labour Party did not gain any votes there. This was the Conservatives to lose, and they lost it. So this is their problem. And literally, you would have thought that just 10 minutes worth of campaigning on the ground with a half decent, if you're look, Mog, just go around there, please. Just someone that the public kind of likes, the average Conservative voter kind of likes. Just walk around, knock on some doors, and have some friendly chats with people, please. Just please. We just need 10 more votes to win this, right?
Please, Mog, save us, Mog. Please.
Yeah, exactly, right. But obviously, they couldn't even muster this, right?
I think there might be another factor in this as well, because we know that the two main parties are the two mainstream parties that will do whatever they can to suck up the most votes possible, and with demographic change being what it is within the UK, increasingly the Conservatives, so that they can try and appeal to the new voters that are being brought in, will start to appeal more and more purely to the interests of those voters.
Entirely possible.
Which will, as we've seen, as was one of the reasons that UKIP was so popular, disenfranchise a whole host of the native voters within the UK, and they will be pushed bit by bit into other parties who say, we won't pander to the new Britons, we will cater to your needs and your desires. That might be something.
I've heard that argument made many times, and it seems logical, but I don't really see any evidence of it actually happening. I just see the Conservative voters just throwing up their hands, like you said, and just being like, all is lost, give up. I'm not going to vote for anyone. So, okay, great. Then,
unless you can inspire them.
Well, yeah, I'm thinking as conditions get worse, perhaps.
Maybe in 20 years' time, when the boomers are out of politics, and it's now people who are not attached to the prior parties. But as it is at the moment, it just doesn't seem to be the case. So anyway, let's carry on, because of course you get Conservative MPs who are feeling the earthquake beneath their feet and saying, well, hang on a second, aren't hundreds of us about to get slaughtered electorally at this point? Aren't we all about to fall off the edge of the cliff, Wile E. Coyote style?
After we had the biggest win ever.
Yeah. And
did nothing.
As far as I'm concerned, they're already off the edge. They're just Wile E. Coyote floating in the air.
They absolutely are. Everyone can see that they are Wile E. Coyote running in the air, right? And the thing is, as well, just a quick thing on the mid-Bedfordshire thing, that's never been Labour. It wasn't a Labour landslide that won it. It was a Conservative collapse. The other one, which was Tamworth, the Tories won that in the 90s. And that's been, for 30 years, a pretty safe Conservative seat. And yet again, that just complete collapse, right? So, of course, you get like MPs, like Conservative MPs like Andrew Jenkins, and like, well, voter apathy is evident yet again in both the by-elections. Low turnout, minus 20k, failed to turn out in Tamworth, and 24k failed to turn out in Mid-Bed since the last election. We need to make far-reaching changes now to instill confidence in the Conservative voters. Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
There is one worry I have.
That they'll go further left.
Yes, you can see immediately.
Well, there you go. I was looking at Mr. Tony Hardwick.
Yeah.
They'll start listening to the Euro flags.
But look at him. No, get back up. Look at him, right? Euro flag, British flag, cricket. Don't know what that is. Pride flag.
But some weird technology guy who thinks that the solution...
Some guy in Somerset, which is 95% English.
Yeah.
Purge the UKIP and racists.
But I can tell you for sure what will happen is there will be a faction of MPs who are the most pathetic humans.
Yes.
Who will come out and there will be a leadership fight after they lose the next election.
And when Nigel Farage takes over the party, he needs to literally eject them all. Just literally on day one, do what Starmer did to Corbyn. Out. All of you. 200,000 people have left the Labour Party. That's roughly about the number that Corbyn brought into the Labour Party by reducing it to like £5 to join, right?
Farage needs to set the tone by not just kicking them out, he needs to deport them. Show what's going to happen under my glorious rule.
I'm not sure you can deport into all of them, because I think most of them might only have British citizenship.
They can find citizenship elsewhere. They want Britain to
deport them to Sealand.
Yeah, there you go. We'll give them forced employment as the workers in the Rwandan hotels that we'll be setting up.
Good point.
There you are.
But anyway, jokes aside, literally just eject all of these people from the party in exactly the same way that Starmer did with Corbyn. Because what Starmer has shown us is that actually the public do not care at all about the internal politics of a party, really. What they care about is what the leader of the party is like. And Starmer is really boring. So at least he's not offensive. Jeremy Corbyn was directly against the grain of British life. I mean, I can't think of anyone in this country who hates Britain more than Jeremy Corbyn. In politics. I mean, obviously you've got like the Ash Sarkars of the world.
I mean, I can think of a few people who aren't British in Britain who hate it more.
But elected MPs, Jeremy Corbyn, there isn't a terrorist group on earth he hasn't got a picture of him standing by going, there's just not. There is just not. Like, he's been anti-Britain and basically pro-Soviet like his entire life. And so it was unsurprising when, like, on the doorstep, the activists in Labour were like, yeah, everyone hates Corbyn, everyone hates Corbyn, everyone hates Corbyn. And of course, he lost. But if you have a party leader who everyone doesn't hate and isn't going against the grain of what it is to be British, then you can get a different result. So actually, the situation is quite well laid out. And as you can see, when Nigel Farage turned up at the Conservative Party conference, he was massively popular. Everyone loved him. And everyone was like, okay, that's interesting. Why does the entire Conservative Party love Nigel like this? It's like, well, Nigel's been doing the proper Conservative thing for the last 26 years, right? That's
just having a positive future.
Yeah, exactly. A positive vision of what Britain could look like in the future, not under the heel of the EU. And just on every subject, Nigel is, if he's not exactly at the right place, he's going in the right direction, right? So no questions there from me. And so everyone was like, yeah, but Nigel said he won't do it. It's like, yeah, he says a lot of things. He did say he wasn't going to do it. Quote, while the Conservative Party is not a proper Conservative Party, something like that, right?
How many times has he now officially resigned from politics and definitely isn't coming back?
Exactly.
I think we're on our fifth.
Exactly, right?
Fifth retirement?
I'm not even countenancing.
And wasn't he first retiring just so that he could run an LBC radio calling show?
Yes. So
And how long did that last?
Look, and look, let's drop the pretense. Nigel Farage wants to be prime minister. I want Nigel Farage to be prime minister. And actually, the stars are aligning. So actually, maybe Nigel Farage might end up as prime minister. Because basically, what he'll need to do is join the Conservative Party, which, of course, Rishi Sunak did not rule out. Because, I mean, what an uncomfortable position that would have been. Like, everyone in the Conservative Party, oh my God, we love Nigel Farage. And Rishi's like, yeah, he's not allowed to join. I mean, there have just been scowls. So have you looked at our polls, Mr. Sunak? Like, what are you doing here? We didn't vote for you. You know, you can, the energy would have been very, very polluted against Sunak.
Maybe, but this is the curse of this party, which is, I imagine,
Sure.
the argument. But we need to regain the centre ground. We can't be seen to be aligning with Farage. That was our mistake.
Yeah, but that's not what actually the members of the
People-
Conservative Party think.
Yeah, because people are
There's a difference between the Conservative voters and the people who are the members and committee members.
Sure.
I mean, at
There
at
is.
the party conference, it was the members, and they all loved him. But you're right that there's the upper echelons of the party as
that
well,
is
who are the
true.
decision makers.
And they have moral authority while the party isn't utterly collapsing and hasn't failed in every way. But once it has, it will become an untenable position for them to say, yeah, you know what we need to keep doing? What we've been doing for the past 13 years that has led us, internal polling in the Tory party implies that they're going to get less than 100 seats at the next general election.
But what have they been doing for the last 13 years? Because to you and me, that's
sure.
obvious. They've been doing leftist nonsense or complete
Sure.
inaction. But to weird normies or these internationalist types who become those Conservative Party candidates and then take on committee positions, etc.
Mhm.
A lot of them have leftist mindsets.
Yeah.
And if you look at what they've been saying about the current rule for the last 13 years,
Yeah.
The party's moved so far to the right. They're now even talking about deporting people who break the
Have
law.
you read what they said in The Guardian?
Yeah, and so what I think will happen is the next election, the Conservatives will get absolutely crushed. Now, you've got to remember, the Conservative Party has never had less than 100 seats. It's never been in this position before. This is literally historic defeat. And it's historic defeat not to a mastermind like Tony Blair. It's a historic defeat to a block of wood like Keir Starmer. Like an actual block of wood, just sat there with his gormless face being like, vote Labour. And the Conservative voters just like, well, we're not voting for anyone, so I guess everyone's going to.
It would be even more embarrassing because earlier this year, Starmer was making smart moves under the tutelage of Blair,
Yeah,
where
of
he's
course.
throwing out the red meat. And then
Sure.
just over the past few months, he's gone, gay-based communism, that's actually what I want.
Yeah, exactly, right? So the point being, the pressure inside the Conservative Party will be so great, and the legitimacy of the people who are like, no, we can't make Britain great again. Why would we do that? That their position will be so untenable that I think it will be possible for Farage not only to win a Conservative leadership election, but just find the political capital, just eject every single one of these people from the party.
God, I hope so.
And I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying I think it would be possible that such a thing could happen.
Yeah,
Now,
we should help him do it if he goes down this route.
exactly. And we on the right, I know there are people on the right who are like, oh, Nigel Farage this, Nigel Farage. Look, no. We've got, I think, just one shot of this, right?
Well, we try everything to win.
Exactly.
And if that includes this, okay, give it a go.
I think it definitely is going to include this. And I really think that we should be doing everything we can. And that means, and I can't believe I'm recommending this, joining the Conservative Party, actually. It might be worth joining now, because then in a year's time, you can actually apply to go into various positions internally in the party and things like this. Like a lot of things, you've got to be there for at least a year or longer, blah, 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 right? So it might actually be worth doing that. I spoke at the Traditional Britain conference the other day. I asked them to hold up their hands if they're a member of the Conservative Party. How many hands do you think were held up?
5.
0. All of the right wing in this country, this one, none of them were a member of the Conservative Party. And I think that's why this is happening, because the right kind of self-selected itself out of the Conservative Party. No, we all of the people in all of the minor parties, we all should just bail into the Conservatives at this point, because they are about to get a staggering defeat. And when we do, we need to be in the Conservative Party conferences, we need to be in their meetings, we need to be in the local like party meetings being like, you failed. Not you personally, obviously, Harry. But, you know, pointing at them, you failed. This all failed. It's Farage now. This is Farage's party. We're going over the top. We're getting rid of
Farage country.
Exactly. This is Farage country now, right? And actually, if ever there was an opportunity for this, it is now. And Farage sees it. And there are a bunch of left-wingers like the New Statesman and, you know, the New European going, oh God, the Tory party could end up being the Farage party. And I'm like, yes, come on. Something is actually happening. We can actually have a win, which would be great. Of course, we're probably going to lose. Everything will probably collapse. I'm not saying it's going to happen, right? But what I'm saying is it's like watching a beam of light passing through trees, and suddenly the alignment, you could see the light. It's like, yes, we should go, and we should do the best that we can. It might fail, but what else have we got, right? We're not going to go around. The third party isn't going to work. For some reason, the British public just won't do it, but I think they will vote. I think those disaffected Conservative voters will vote for a Faragist Tory party. So that's what I think we need to do. It's not over. It's never over. And actually, maybe there's a glimmer of hope here. So,
all right. Callum, you look like you have many thoughts.
I don't know how I can really help with that because I got kicked out for mentioning Swindon's demographics.
Well, we just rejoin.
Wait, did you?
Yeah. So I joined the Conservative Party. I've been working with them to try and learn about them. And then I posted the demographics of Swindon with no comment in a group chat, and they instantly kicked me.
But did they kick you out of the party?
As far as I'm aware, yeah. Because it doesn't seem like my payment's going through anymore.
When was this?
So,
don't mind me asking.
A while back.
Right.
Like last year or something. Whenever the census data came out, I was just like, oh, here's the new census data for Swindon. Kicked. What? So I messaged them, just going, what the hell?
And I assume that this was with just low-level random other members, or was it with people of actual importance?
I mean, the MP was in the group chat with the people in charge of the constituency, so I don't know.
So he took it as a personal insult.
Did I dare mention the demographics of his own constituency?
What you could do is join your local Conservative association, get in their little group chat with the MP, and then just post the thing going, you're about to lose your seat. You're about to lose. You're about to get slaughtered like a pig by the Labour Party. You're dead. You know, kick me if you dare, but I'm the future.
Are you saying just gripe?
Why not? They're all about to lose their seats. Like they all deserve it, frankly, and they all know that they're going to. Literally,
they deserve sleepless nights.
Hundreds of Conservative MPs are going to become unemployed tomorrow. Well, after the election, you know, it's like literally hundreds, and they know that they are wily coyoting.
Start posting McDonald's job listings.
Yeah, right.
Chats.
You know, feel free and if they're going to kick you for being like, oh, I want an actual Conservative party, then okay, but we'll be back with Farage. So, you know, bide your time.
If you appreciated that segment from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content that's on the site, such as the Brokenomics series, this episode on Scott Adams. If you'd like to find out what else is being put out, you can follow on Getter at lotuseaters_com on Getter. Thank you and goodbye.